Poverty does not start when the wallet is empty. It originates long before, in the way we think and in the choices we repeat day after day. I am Jewish and learned early on that poverty is not an inheritance we receive, but a result we build with our own hands. Today I will show why you have no money and what needs to change now if you really want to transform your reality. Follow this content if it seeks practical wisdom without empty furial or promises. Let's face the truth. Poverty is not suddenly enough with an economic crisis or a bad government. She enters sneaky, like a mist, through the small everyday habits. Each time you spend before you win. When you use loans or buy unnecessary things for momentary pleasure, you are opening the door to scarcity. Every start after excuse, now it's not time or everyone does so, is like a brick on the wall that separates it from prosperity. In Jewish families, it was always said, note how a person manages your last resources, and you will know if they will be rich one day. Money is not just paper or numbers in an account. It is a mirror of character. Who, in difficult times, seeks distractions is buying their own poverty. But those who seek knowledge, organization, and purpose are investing in their future. My grandfather returned from war to a destroyed city, without home, work, or economies. But every night I sat with a notebook, wrote down each spending, and planned the next day. He had no capital, but had method. This method built a workshop, which in turn guaranteed the family livelihood. It was then that I understood poverty is chaos, wealth is the order we create for ourselves. Modern studies confirm this. Some call it discipline, others growth mentality, but the essence is the same. Rich and poor do not differ by salary, but by habits. You can win the lottery or receive an inheritance, but if you keep poverty habits, the money will disappear faster than it has arrived. On the other hand, with abundance habits, even small resources begin to grow. Do you know why you don't have money? Because it lives beyond its possibilities, based on expectations, not reality. Because it saves on what really matters, knowledge, development, and self-discipline. Because you see yourself as a victim, not as the owner of their own destination. And because fear of starting over when everything crumbles. These four traps are repeated in the life of millions. If you do not break them, tomorrow will be equal to yesterday. Remember, poverty is not an indelible brand. It is a script that can be rewritten. And you should start right now. The first reason you don't have money is to spend what you haven't made yet. It is the habit of living in the future, as if tomorrow everything was resolved alone. You receive the salary and, on the same day, already destined it to the bank, stores, or the desires of others. It lives not of the present, but of debts. I met a man who bought a skin coat for his wife in the credit, paid for it 3 years. A year later, she left him, and the debt stayed. He called that divorce cloak coat. This is what it means to pay for an illusion. Each installment purchase is not an investment. It is a rental of poverty. Mobile, vacation, television, promotion until Friday. None of this brings lasting happiness, just chains that keep it in the same place. Jewish wisdom has always taught, money is a tool, not toy. If you use it to look, not to be, you are digging your own pit. In our tradition, the ability to save and wait was valued. Patience was considered wealth as it opens doors to grow, not to waste. Current research proves this. The search for immediate pleasures destroys the future. We chose instant joy and paid for years. But if we learn to wait, spending only on the essentials and within what we already have, we change the game. We pass from debtors to owners of our destination. The second reason for poverty is to save on what really matters, your mind. You spend without blinking things that will be worth less, but hesitates to invest in courses, books, or mentors. Looking for shortcuts, but for free always is expensive. In youth, I also thought I could learn everything alone. He considered books loss of time and guidance from others a waste. For 5 years, I was stagnant. Only when I spent my last economies on a consultation but an experienced sage I understood knowledge costs less than errors. He told me the simple phrase, better pay once for the lesson than all, life or ignorance. This idea turned my way of thinking. Today we know that the brain is our greatest asset. If we do not develop it, he atrophy. Smart conversation. A book or a course can be worth more than any material good, but those who live in scarcity always save on what would make him wiser, and then be surprised when the rich get richer because they invest in themselves, not in objects. Spend what is left, not what you expect to receive. Invest in what will remain with you forever, knowledge and discipline. The rest may get lost, but what you put in your head will feed you all your life. The third reason for poverty is to act as a victim. You blame the circumstances, the country, the boss, the parents, or the dollar price. Search guilty instead of solutions. But the truth is that, while seeing as a victim, he gives control of his own life to others. My grandfather, war survivor, said, it may be poor, but don't be a fool. He returned to a ruined town, worked as a turner, fixed umbrellas, and, at night, wrote down every penny spent. I had more reason to complain than anyone, but didn't complain. I was looking for what I could do the next day to improve. He didn't see himself as a victim, so his life gradually improved. Studies confirm this. There are two ways of thinking: a quick, emotional, and justification; another slow, reflective, and aimed at solutions. Most live in the first way and therefore always find guilty. But if he stops accusing and asking, "What can I change now?" activates the second way, which leads to growth. Who assumes the role of victim weakens. Spend energy on lamentations, envy, and excuses, but as soon as it assumes responsibility, it recovers its strengths. In our tradition, it was always said, "If not me, then who?" This simple question returns the power to your hands. The fourth reason for poverty is the fear of starting over. It's hard to admit, but after years of effort, sometimes you have to leave everything behind and start from scratch. The truth, however, is that most successful people have gone through this more than once. I myself resumed 3 times, one after losing a business, another after a divorce, and the third when health problems forced me to close everything. In each of these times, I thought it was the end. But then I sat down and wrote, "What can I do now?" and resumed. With each new beginning, it became stronger than before. In Jewish wisdom, there is the practice of Shabbat, a day we stopped. We set aside work, obligations, and everyday noise to see what is lost in the rush. Shabbat teaches that zero is not a void, but a starting point. Sometimes you need to stop everything to rebuild, otherwise. The fear of scratch keeps millions in poverty. People are afraid to get out of a job that consumes them, to close a business that only causes damage, to admit that the old one no longer works. But it is precisely zero that offers the chance to start differently. Zero is not the end. It is an opportunity. The fifth reason for poverty is dispersion. You spend your attention on everything but what really matters. In the morning, news that does not change your life. By day, empty conversations. At night, series or games that leave no learning. The day goes by, and you don't even remember where your time went. But attention is the most valuable currency that exists. Where is your focus? There are your results. In Jewish tradition, the study has always been valued. Sitting for hours about a text, listening to each word carefully, was considered an act of strength, because the ability to focus on the essentials makes you owner of your own life. Who disperses their attention feeds the goals of others. Who controls your attention builds your. Modern researchers call this deep work. When a person eliminates noise and dedicates himself to a single task, their results multiply. But most are hostage to constant distractions, so their lives look like chaos. To get richer, you don't have to do it anymore. You need to do less, but better. The sixth reason for poverty is the lack of gratitude. You just look at what you don't have and don't see what is already within your reach. This mindset transforms life into an eternal scarcity. But who doesn't? You know how to be grateful for little. You are not prepared to receive more. Our wisdom says, "Rich is the one who rejoices with his portion." This does not mean conformism with poverty, but the ability to recognize value in what already exists and use it as a foundation. Gratitude opens their eyes to opportunities that have always been close but go unnoticed in the race for illusions. Modern psychologists confirm gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a practice that transforms the mind. Those who record daily by what is grateful see the world more broadly. It perceives connections, people, and possibilities that once hid in the shadow of discontent. This person becomes able to grow because he is an inexhaustible internal resource. Thus, we see that poverty is not the work of chance, but a system of habits and beliefs, living in overdraft, saving into knowledge, assuming the role of victim, fearing zero, disputing, and lacking gratitude. All of this are links of the same chain that keeps the individual stuck. But every current can be broken. Poverty is not a sentence. It is a script that can be rewritten. And if you begin to break these patterns, you'll see little by little not just your pocket, but your whole life transforms.